Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. So in today's video, we are going to discuss the topic of electrical energy and power. Okay, basically यहाँ पे क्या है कि अगर एक कंडक्टर है, ठीक है, एक कंडक्टर है और इस कंडक्टर में करंट फ्लो हो रहा है I is the current flowing from this end to, suppose this is end A, this is end B, ठीक है. अब एंड ए से एंड बी में करंट फ्लो कर रहा है आई करंट. ओके, नाउ ऑब्वियसली इफ करंट इज फ्लोइंग फ्रॉम दिस साइड टू दिस साइड, दैट मींस दिस इज एट हाई पोटेंशियल, दिस इज एट लो पोटेंशियल. करंट ऑलवेज फ्लोज फ्रॉम हाई पोटेंशियल टू लो पोटेंशियल. ओके, सो सपोज यहां पे जो पोटेंशियल है वो वी ए ले लेते हैं, यहां पे पोटेंशियल वी बी. सो वी ए इज ग्रेटर देन वी बी. ठीक है. अच्छा, नाउ सपोज वी इज द पोटेंशियल डिफरेंस. यहाँ पे जो पोटेंशियल डिफरेंस है वो V है, तो इसका मतलब V इक्वल टू क्या होगा, VA माइनस VB. ठीक है, V इज द पोटेंशियल डिफरेंस. ओके, अच्छा, नाउ कॉरेस्पॉन्डिंग टू दिस करंट I, सपोज डेल्टा Q चार्ज फ्लोज फ्रॉम A to B and A to and B in time delta T. Okay, so delta Q charge flows from A to B in time delta T. Okay, so I can write this I as delta Q by delta T. Okay, so the change in potential energy as the charge flows from A to B delta U, it will be equal to charge times the potential difference VB minus VA. Okay, now why I am writing like this? See, because change in potential energy it is equal to final potential energy minus initial potential energy. Okay, now this final potential energy is equal to charge times potential at B. Initial potential energy is equal to charge times potential at A. So these substitutions I have done over here. Okay, now VA minus VB is equal to V, so that means this quantity it is equal to minus V. So delta U is equal to delta Q times minus V. Okay, now potential energy is negative. Okay, now potential energy is negative. It has to be because see the charge is moving from high potential to low potential, so there is a loss of potential energy. There is a loss of potential, so corresponding to that there is a loss of potential energy. Okay, acha, now this from this expression I can write delta Q is equal to I delta T. Okay, so this delta Q can be replaced by I delta T, correct? So delta U becomes this minus I am taking outside, minus I delta T times V. Okay, so this is the change in potential energy as delta Q charge moves from end A to end B. Okay, now this is quite interesting in the sense, see sum of kinetic energy and potential energy, it is equal to total energy of the free electrons or the free charges that are contributing to the flow of current. Now sum of kinetic energy and potential energy is the total energy, but this total energy it is a constant quantity. It is a constant quantity. So delta K plus delta U it is equal to 0. So that means delta U it is equal to minus delta K. Change in potential energy it is equal to negative of kinetic energy. Okay, so that means this negative sign shows that if one quantity is increasing, the other quantity is decreasing. Okay, so delta U is this quantity, so minus I delta T times V it is equal to minus delta K. So this minus sign gets cancelled. So I delta T times V is equal to delta K. Okay, so basically here we are getting a positive value of kinetic energy. Now positive value of kinetic energy implies that the kinetic energy is increasing. Okay, but we know that for these free electrons in the conductor, the free charges are the free electrons. Okay, now these electrons they move with a steady velocity. Okay, and that is called drift velocity. Okay, drift velocity. drift velocity. This is a steady velocity. Steady velocity. Okay. Steady velocity. Now, why I am saying that this is a steady velocity? Because see, the energy of the electrons cannot increase continuously because they are undergoing collision with other free electrons. Okay, so it is not possible that the energy is increasing continuously. Okay, so they have to move with a constant steady velocity, that is called drift velocity. So that means there can't be any increase in kinetic energy. Okay, now we know that potential energy is decreasing, kinetic energy cannot increase. So what is happening to this energy? Actually, this energy, it is getting converted into heat energy. Heat energy. Okay, so this decrease in potential energy, it is converted into heat energy. Okay, so here the point is, see, potential energy, it is decreasing. Potential energy is decreasing, and that energy is getting converted into heat energy. Heat energy. So if I represent it by delta H, so I can write delta H, it is equal to this quantity I delta T into V. Okay. Now rate of evolution of heat energy. Rate of evolution of heat energy. I can call this as power. I can call this as power T, isn't it? बोल सकते हैं ना power. So power क्या हो जाएगा? Power is equal to delta H by delta T. ये delta T यहाँ पे आ जाएगा. So क्या बचा? ये यहाँ पे क्या बचा? VI. So इसका मतलब P equal to क्या हो गया? VI. So this is the expression for power dissipated in this conductor. Okay. अच्छा. Now V equal to RI लिख सकते हैं. तो ये अगर यहाँ पे सब्स्टिट्यूट करते हैं तो P इक्वल टू क्या हो जाएगा? P इज इक्वल टू RI into I. So P equal to I square R. This is another form of expression power. Okay. Also I can write this as P is equal to V, I is equal to V by R. So I can write P is equal to V square by R. Okay. So these are the various forms of the expression for power. P is equal to VI. Okay. P is equal to I square R. And P is equal to V square by R. Okay. Now we will be using this expression depending upon the situation. Okay. Because here it appears that power is directly proportional to resistance. Here it appears that power is inversely proportional to resistance. But see, here power is directly proportional to resistance when current is constant. Here power is inversely proportional to resistance when voltage is constant. Okay, so those things we will see where to use this formula, where to use this formula. But these are the various expressions for power, and this is how power is evolved, heat is evolved due to flow of electric current. Okay. Now, how about the evolution of power in an electrochemical cell? Okay. Now, suppose this is a electrochemical cell. This is the container. This contains the electrolyte. Okay, this is the electrolyte. These are the two electrodes. Okay, and a resistor is connected across this. Okay, so when there is a generation of current, suppose this is a positive electrode, this is a negative electrode. So current will flow in this across this resistor, and there is evolution of heat. Okay, evolution of heat. Now, where this energy has come? What is the source of this heat energy? The source of heat energy is the chemical energy of the electrolyte. Okay, so chemical energy of the electrolyte is converted into heat energy across the resistor. Suppose this is the resistor R. Okay, so energy dissipated in R, this resistor comes from the chemical energy of the electrolyte. Chemical energy of the electrolyte. Okay, so this is another case of evolution of energy and principle of conservation of energy. Okay. So this topic is about power loss in transmission lines. Okay. Now see, most of you have seen that in our house normally we use 220 volt power supply. Okay. But in the transmission lines, okay, there in the electric post it is written that suppose 20,000 volt, then a danger mark, or 10,000 volt and a danger sign. Okay, so that means these transmission lines, they are carrying current at a very high voltage of 20,000 volt or 10,000 volt. But in our household devices, we require the voltage of 220 volt. Okay, so there must be some advantage of carrying current at high voltage. So that advantage we are going to analyze while studying this topic of power loss in transmission lines. Okay, so now basically suppose this is a power station and these are the transmission lines of resistance RC, this carrying current I. This is a device of resistance R and power is P. So if power is P, then current I flowing into the device, it can be defined by the relation P is equal to V into I. Okay, this is for this device. Now the power loss or power dissipated in transmission line, transmission lines of resistance RC can be written as PC is equal to I square RC. Okay, now this current I can be replaced from this. I have I equal to P by V. So this I can be replaced by this P by V. So this becomes PC is equal to P square by V square RC. Okay, as you can see, this power dissipated in the transmission line, it is inversely proportional to V square. So higher the value of V, low will be the value of power loss. Okay, so high V implies low power loss, power dissipation. So it is for this reason this electrical energy is carried out at high voltage across the transmission lines. Okay, because this power loss, it is inversely proportional to square of the voltage. Okay, so this is the concept of power loss in transmission lines and how to minimize the power loss. Now next topic is two bulbs in series. That is, suppose you have this one bulb, this is another bulb, they are connected in series. Okay, now this is connected to a voltage source with a key. This is the key, this is voltage source of potential V. Okay, now suppose this bulb is of power rating P01 at voltage V0. Okay, this bulb is of power rating P02 at again voltage V0. Okay, now what is the meaning of this? Like in your electrical devices, it is written, like in bulbs it is written 40 watt at 220 volt or 20 watt at 220 volt. So this is called power rating. Power rating. Okay. So 40 watt at 220. So just like that, P01, P02 at voltage V0, at voltage V0. Okay. Now suppose this P01 is 40, P02 is 20. So in this case, our case, P01 is greater than P02. Okay, this is just a general case. Now suppose here resistance, here bulb resistance R1, this resistance is R2. So this is the intrinsic property of the bulb. Okay, whose power is P01 voltage at voltage V0. Okay, so we have the relation P is equal to V square by R. We have this relation P equal to V square by R. So I can write R1 is equal to V0 square by P1 and R2 is equal to V0 square by P2 or P01, P02. Okay, power is P01, P02. Okay. Acha. Now, as P01 is greater than P02, so this implies R1 is less than R2. R1 is less than R2. Okay, because P01 is greater than P02. So R1 is less than R2. Now, if P1 is the power dissipated, see when this device is connected across this circuit, P1 is the power dissipated across this bulb, P2 is the power dissipated across the second bulb because of flow of current. Now, since they are in series, they will carry same current. Series current flow is same. So, power dissipated across first bulb P1, it is equal to I square R1. For second bulb P2, it is equal to I square R2. Correct? Achha. Now, R1 is less than R2. R1 is less than R2. So that means, or R2 is greater than R1. Current is same. So that means P2 will be greater than P1. P2 will be greater than P1. So, see P01 is greater than P02. It's like I have two bulbs. Okay, I have two bulbs. So this is 40 watt and this is 20 watt. Okay, and this suppose 100 volt. This is the key. Now they are connected in series. So this result shows that, see, P01 is greater than P02. This power rating is greater than power rating of this. But P2 is greater than P1. That is, power dissipated across this bulb will be greater than power dissipated across this bulb. So that means more heat will be evolved across this bulb. More heat will be evolved across 20 watt bulb. So that means 20 watt bulb will glow more. Okay. If these two are connected in series, the bulb having low power will glow more. This is a very important observation. Okay. Now, what about the total power consumed? Okay, total power consumed. Total power consumed. So, P is equal to P1 plus P2. Total power consumed, power is a scalar quantity, so we can add it directly. Okay, so P is equal to, what is the voltage? V. So, V square divided by R1 plus P equal to V square by R. What is total resistance? They are in series, so R1 plus R2. And now what is R1 and R2? R1 and R2 are these two values. So substituting over here, what do you get? V square divided by R1 is V0 square by P01. So V0 square by P01 plus V0 square by P02. Okay, so this gives P is equal to P01, P02, V square divided by P01 plus P02, V0 square. Simplifying this. Okay. Now, if we take V is equal to V0, so this term gets cancelled. Okay, this term gets cancelled. And what is the final result? Final result is P is equal to P01, P02 divided by P01 plus P02. So I can write this as 1 by P is equal to 1 by P01 plus 1 by P02. So this is the equivalent power in series. This is the equivalent power in series. Okay, so that means if 40 watt bulb and 20 watt bulb, they are connected in series, the equivalent power can be calculated from this expression. 1 by power, this is the equivalent power equal to 1 by 40 plus 1 by 20. Okay, so this is how you have to calculate the equivalent power. Okay, ये just resistance का जो फॉर्मूला है उसके उल्टा जा सकता है, मतलब resistance में जो टाइम का फॉर्मूला था वो पावर में सीरीज का फॉर्मूला है. ठीक है, कैपेसिटर में सीरीज का फॉर्मूला भी ऐसे ही था. ठीक है, so I hope this concept is clear. So next we'll see two bulbs in parallel. So these are the two bulbs connected in parallel with this circuit of potential source V. This is the key. So this is P01 at voltage V0. This is P02 at voltage V0. This is V. Okay. Now what will be the resistance of this bulb? P equal to V square by R. So for this, resistance R1 is equal to V0 square by P01. R2 is equal to V0 square by P02. Now again let us assume that P01 is greater than P02. Power rating of this bulb is greater. Suppose this is 40 watt, this is 20 watt. Okay. So if P01 is greater than P02, this implies R1 is less than R2. R1 is less than R2. Now what about the power dissipated across the two bulbs? So power dissipated across this bulb is P1. This bulb is P2. So P1 is equal to V square by R1. P2 is equal to V square by R2. See, earlier I have used the relation P is equal to I square R. Now here I am using the relation P is equal to V square by R. In the previous result, in series combination of bulbs, I have used this result. In parallel combination of bulbs, I am using this result. Why? Because in series, current is same. In parallel, voltage will be same. Both the bulbs will be getting this voltage. Okay. So that is why I am using this result. Okay. So if you can see this result, P1 is equal to V square by R1, P2 is equal to V square by R2. Now R1 is less than R2. R1 is less than R2. So this implies P1 is greater than P2. So that means the bulb having greater power rating will glow more. So if the bulbs are connected in parallel, the 40 watt bulb will glow more. If we have 40 watt bulb and 20 watt bulb, the 40 watt bulb will glow more. Okay. See, in our house, a household circuit, the connection is in parallel. So in a house, obviously, if you have a 40 watt bulb and 20 watt bulb, the 40 watt bulb glows more. Okay. So in parallel, the bulb having greater power rating will glow more. Okay. In series, it is ulta. Okay. In series, the bulb having low power rating will glow more. Okay. So this is first part of the result. Now what about the equivalent power? Equivalent power. So equivalent power P is equal to P1 plus P2. See, don't worry about the formula. Equivalent power. Power is a scalar quantity. So basic formula is you have to add. Scalar quantity means direct addition. So P equal to P1 plus P2. Okay. But what is P1? P1 is equal to V square by R1 plus V square by R2. And what is R1? R1 is equal to, so P is equal to V square. R1 is V0 square by P01. So this is P01 plus V square by V0 square P02. Okay. Now if we take the case where V is equal to V0, V is equal to V0. So this term gets cancelled. So we have P is equal to P01 plus P02. So this is the formula for power in parallel. Formula for equivalent power in parallel. Okay. So again, this formula is similar to equivalent resistance in series. Okay. Or capacitors in parallel. Okay. So this is how you can calculate the equivalent power. Okay. So these are some of the important concepts. Not some, I have discussed almost everything related to power and combination of power in series and parallel. Okay. So next we will have the topic of electrical conducting materials. Okay. Basically we are going to talk about the properties of such materials. Okay. The first is filament of electric bulb. Okay. Now filament of electric bulb, it is usually made of tungsten. Okay. Tungsten. And what kind of property it should have? It should have high resistivity and high melting point. Okay. Now obviously it should have high melting point, otherwise it is not going to work. Okay, and why high resistivity? Because this filament, it burns, okay, and then it radiates energy. So that is given by the expression I square RT. Okay, now greater the resistivity, greater will be the resistance, and more the amount of heat will be produced. Okay, similarly, for element of heating devices, that is in heater or geyser, the coil which is used, so that is usually made up of nichrome. Okay, this is the alloy, and again it should have high melting point and high resistivity. Okay, high melting point so that it is not breaking under at high temperature also, and high resistivity so that it is able to generate more amount of heat. Okay, now coming to the third material, that is resistance box wires. Okay, normally these are used in experiments in laboratories. You will also be using such resistance boxes when the lab opens. So resistance box wires, now usually they are made up of manganese or constantan. Manganese or constantan, they are both alloys. Okay, now what is their property? They have moderate resistivity, that is resistivity within normal range, but which is independent of temperature. Practically independent of temperature. Practically independent of temperature means if the temperature changes, the resistivity should not change. Okay, now if the resistivity is not changing, so resistance will also not change. Okay, now why do we need that kind of material? Because these resistance box wires, they are used in doing experiments. Okay, now while performing those experiments, the resistance need to be maintained at a constant value. Okay, so that is why we are choosing these materials, so that the resistance do not change with temperature. Because see, when you conduct an experiment, if the current flows for a longer duration, it is quite possible that the temperature of the experimental setup may rise. Okay, because of constant flow of electric current, the temperature may rise. Now if the temperature rises, the resistance may change, but if the resistance changes, the entire experimental result may be affected. So in order to keep the resistance constant, we choose such materials like manganese or constantan. Okay, acha. Next you have a very important component which is used in our house, that is the fuse wire. Okay, which prevents the damage of all the electrical appliances which we use from some high power. Okay, so what is the component of this fuse wire? Tin lead alloy. Okay, tin lead alloy. And what is the property of this fuse wire? It must have low melting point, very important, low melting point, so that if very high value of current comes, so that large amount of heat is generated, this fuse wire should melt and it should break, and so that it is able to safeguard the other electrical household appliances. Okay, so it must have a low melting point, high resistivity, must have high resistivity, and it is always used in series. Okay, it is always used in series, because see, suppose this is an electrical appliance, and this is the fuse wire. This is the fuse wire. So if this burns, then the appliance is saved, because this current cannot flow to the appliance. Okay, but if it is connected in parallel, what will happen? Suppose this is the device and this is the fuse. This is the fuse wire. Okay, now if high electric current comes and this melts, but then this path is still available to damage this device. Okay, so it is for this reason this fuse wire, it is always connected in series in the household circuit. Okay, acha. Next we have thermistor. Now what is basically a thermistor? It is a heat sensitive resistor. Okay, it is a heat sensitive resistor, and it is made up of oxides of nickel, copper and cobalt. Oxides of nickel, copper and cobalt. Now what are the property of thermistor? Alpha is very high. Alpha is temperature coefficient of resistivity. temperature, coefficient of resistivity. Okay, now alpha should be high. Okay, it may be positive or negative. It can both have positive value or negative value, but the value should be high. Okay, the resistance changes rapidly with temperature. Okay, now for these materials, the resistance must change rapidly with temperature. Okay, actually, high value of alpha also implies the resistance changes rapidly with temperature. Okay, so these are some of the electrical conducting materials and their properties. Okay, now though this is not that much highlighted in your textbook or in that matter for your board exam preparation, but questions based on this is often asked in NEET exam. Okay, so basically this topic is very important for NEET. Board exam also you may expect questions, but for NEET aspirants this is very important topic. Okay, I hope these things are beneficial for you. Okay, so please note down these things. Okay.